Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You can get a job in the Middle East simply by trying or by magic, through others, or by a fluke. Remember that competition is everywhere. Some here, some there, but bam! Loy Machedo is the best.
All right, here's a thought-provoking question. Sorry. When do parents become a liability? I know it sounds rather shocking, right? Or rude. When do parents become a liability? We are actually taught, whether from childhood or religious teachings or even common sense, that your parents who took care of you, who spent their entire lives raising you, who sacrificed so much, to call them a liability, isn't it wrong? And I'm not speaking about parents who are abusive, like drinking, smoking, and even beating. It depends. You can't just say all parents who beat are bad. Sometimes discipline is required. Like, would I hit my child? Only as and when required, and I would spank, or not violently beat. So even beatings, there are different levels. Maybe a parent would beat you with a stick, but that depends on their upbringing. Today, if you hit a child with a stick, it's become a court case. And in the West, you will get all this welfare. Child welfare will come and take the child away. And in fact, there are still outdated practices. Like yesterday, I saw on Instagram, one child was tied up and put on the terrace in the blazing sun because the child didn't do the homework. So the mother decided to teach the child a lesson. So we need to use common sense. And my one request is, please don't take my video out of context without watching the whole thing and taking it as a whole. Okay, so what do I mean by parents being a liability? Is it when they are old and they can't work and take care of themselves and they're sick and they become a liability? No, that's not what I mean. When parents are old and nobody is there for them, you have to take care. In fact, I get appalled when I hear of stories where children took their parents and then just left them in some old age home. Okay, I'm totally against that practice. Now, obviously, you'll question my life. I have dumped my parents. Well, because they were abusive people. And my story, I've put it in a different video. So now comes the question, when exactly do parents become a liability? And like I said, I'm not talking of those bad people. I'm talking of normal, average people with good intentions. People who send you to school, college, who give you the right values. When do they become a liability? And I think the best answer I can give you is an example, real life. I had a client a few days ago who spoke to me about his mother and father. They love him very much and he loves them. Indian parents, and now they are pressurizing him to get married. And he was like, I don't know what to do and I don't know whether I should. And my parents are saying, please, want you to get married and have a child. In fact, you remember that example, that incident where the parents are taking this young man to court because he's not going to give them a grandchild. Silly and stupid. Well, it depends. If they have a legal binding, then they'll win the case. If they don't have a legal binding, the judge will throw the case out of the window. But it clearly shows his parents are a liability because they don't want him to live his life. They want him to live the life they want him to live the life. They want him to live their life. So in the same way, these parents of this client of mine wanted him to get married so that he can, quote unquote, settle down and then have a grandchild and they can play with the grandchild. Obviously, they were not planning to take him to court. But then he didn't feel comfortable, and he was not the arranged marriage type, and he didn't want to get married. He wanted to enjoy his life, being single, the freedom, girls, and all that. So he asked me. I told him, see, listen, it's very simple. You don't ask questions of marriage to either me or your mom or your dad or society or anybody else. Okay, if you're not sure after you have chosen the partner, well, you can take a perspective and say, for example, someone like me, if anyone comes to me and asks me, I always tell them, get married late. Prefer live in. Get married late. The reason being is, if things don't work out, or you realize I've suddenly found a better option, or this is not working out, or because you would not know anything of that person even after spending years. And sometimes even after spending years, you'll realize, shit, it's a mistake. So better when you're young, give it time. So live in, and it doesn't work out, bye-bye. No hard feelings. But now not every girl will agree, not every parent will agree that way, right? So now in his case, he didn't have a choice to live in. So I told him point blank, end of the day, I'm not going to stay with your wife, future wife. Your mother is not going to stay, your father is not going to stay. And if tomorrow things don't work out, who's to blame? Who will you turn around? You'll say, my mother, father forced me, or he told me. You will face the brunt by yourself. And then tomorrow, if you find a girl who you really want to get married, you'll be like, fuck, what did I do, man? So I told him, and given the fact that you're not sure and you don't force yourself. This is not like changing clothes or buying a chocolate or buying a car. This is a commitment, and whose decisions have a lot of repercussions, So he understood. However, unfortunately, not every client listens to me. One other client actually got married, and now after 1 year, they are on court proceedings. Actual client of mine. Massive disaster. He is nearly going to lose his job because his wife turned out to be a little cuckoo. So I knew that through a small interaction they had. Anyway, that's a different story. So now this is one area where there can be a liability, where they start asking you to do things which permanently can alter the state of your life, like marriage. Or two, they bring emotions and they make you, convince you to do something. Let's say, for example, marriage, divorce, migrating to another country, choosing a career, and they bring tears. Oh, please, we always loved you. See, the thing is, it's not that they are bad. It's not that they have bad intentions. The very fact that they raised you up, sacrificed so much, they really have good intentions. Now, here's a part that I'll give you a very important disclaimer. Here, you cannot use, just because your parents cry and tell you not to do, doesn't mean that they are right or wrong. I'll give you two examples here. One example is, this guy, perfect career, has admission in college, has got a scholarship, everything great. And he decided he wanted to become a YouTuber. And that's why he got in touch with me. I want to be a YouTuber, be my own boss. And I said, no, you're wrong. Now here his parents also told him he's wrong. So he came to me thinking that I'll say, yeah, your parents are wrong, go chase your dreams. I said, no, you're wrong. Your parents are right. So this is one example. The other example is, the parents wanted this boy to be an engineer. He said no. And no, he didn't want. And, now the parents are forcing him or will not sponsor education. So he came to me. I said, see, listen, if you do engineering and you're not interested and you start failing, it'll be a bigger headache. And you tell your parents, I told him it's all a matter of communication. Tell your parents, I'll take up engineering for your sake. But if I fail and I don't pass, I'm not to be blamed, because if I don't find interest or I'm not able to grasp and I will fail, which I believe I will, then please don't blame me for it. I'll do it just to keep you happy. I told him, say that. So then the parents were like, why the hell are you talking like this? And so it's important over there. So please discern. At the same time, let's say a guy met a girl. I was talking about marriage now. A guy met a girl, and they are both childhood love and college mates, and they decide, oh, we'll get married. What have you seen of life that you want to get married? So the parents will say no, and you'll say yes. Even where religion is concerned, sometimes people say, oh, I'm ready to give up my religion and embrace Islam or Hinduism or Christianity. That's not life. That's just a lifestyle choice. The complications will happen after you have the baby. I'll tell you, it's only people who are married for many years will know this. So, see, it comes down to where parents become a liability is where they use emotions and then justify it with logic. In my life, where I made a mistake here was I was in Dublin, Ireland, and I was going through hell. If you see my video of my previous marriage, my first marriage, this girl was a fraud, she was a liar, she was the nightmare. And I was literally living like homeless, like a beggar. Food from a restaurant's dustbin, and some people used to give me food, and I was staying in a place, there was no AC, nothing. It was horrible. So my mother, that time, my mother found out, and she said, come back, you come back to us, we are in UAE, you live like a king, you'll be your own boss. And then she used to cry every day, I miss you, son, and this and that. Basically my mother wanted her investment to come back, in case you mistaken and think that my mother loved me. She said, come back so that we can be together. Basically, she had her agenda. But she was not wrong. If I'd come back to Dubai, I'd live like a king. I'd be my own boss. But why I wanted to stay back in Dublin, Ireland was to get the citizenship so that I could get a European passport. And then the doors of opportunities would open for me to go anywhere with a passport. But because I has to listen to my mother's tears every single day, even I got emotional and I finally made the decision to come back. Now, was it a mistake? I don't know. I'm being honest with you. I don't know. Would I have been where I am today without this? I really don't know. However, I can tell you this much. If I had a Western Gora passport, which I would get it, I think, nearly 25 years ago, my life would have been much more convenient. Today, it's a bit more expensive. Okay, there would be a lot of perks and benefits of having a white passport. But having said that, the only reason that decision became good was because I made corrective measures. However, had my mother not told me that, I'd have continued there. Do I regret today that I came back? Yes, 100%. Had my mother not been there, with all the bullshit tears and all that, I'd have grind it out and I'd have survived. So overall, what I want to tell you is, see, listen, please don't use my video to suddenly say, oh, you're evil, you're a liability, Every situation is different. Sometimes the people who are watching my videos, they are a bunch of psychos. Seriously, they are a liability themselves. And they go around bad-mouthing their parents and society when they themselves are a little crack in the head. But try telling a mad person you're mad. He'll say, no, you're wrong. So first evaluate yourself. Are you a fucking idiot? If you're an idiot, don't go around blaming your parents and everyone. How do you know if you're an idiot? Are you smoking? Are you drinking? Are you a bum in school? Do you get bad grades? Are you unemployed without a job? Are you a lost cause? Do you only hang around with your friends and remain on social media? Then you're the fucking problem. Don't blame your parents. Oh, my parents gave me proper upbringing. They gave you what they had to. Don't be self-entitled. So the first is be aware of yourself. Second one is, if you have completed your schooling and college, you're a man or a woman. Take personal responsibility and accountability. But after it comes after this, make every decision by yourself and don't depend on parents. Otherwise, I'll tell you, you'll really regret it. I'll just give you as a conclusion that remember, evaluate every situation case by case. And where such a situation does arise, where the parents, mother and father, cry and give tears, I would suggest take a break, distance yourself from everyone, avoid them calling you and pestering you, and that itself is a red flag. If they keep calling you, keep reminding you, give yourself distance. Okay, take 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and when you're cool, calm, composed, and relaxed, then evaluate the situation without anyone whispering in your ears. For my clients, given the fact that I'm there, they don't have to wait 3 months. They speak to me, I give them a clear perspective. But for you who can't afford a coach or someone to help you make the so-called right decisions, remember, distance yourself from them. Tell them, I understand, give me time, 3 months, I will give you a decision. And after, when there's peace, calm and quiet, when you're away from everyone, make a call. And remember, if they say, no, we can't wait 3 months, you want to make now, then don't make any. Just say, no, I'm not interested. Because making a decision under pressure, normally, you'll always make the wrong one. Through experience, you'll know what to do. Anyway, I hope this video give you a perspective. Good, bad, ugly, right or wrong. I'd love to hear your points of view. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This means signing off. Please take care. Ciao.